West Virginia is trying to make it harder for smokers, especially teens, to buy tobacco products. President Trump is expected to sign a deal to keep the government open, but he's not happy with it. And in sports, the Ohio men's basketball team lost yet another home game, extending their losing streak to 4. Hear Coach Saul Phillips' reaction. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Thank you so much for joining us. A substance suspected to be methamphetamine was found in Athens early this morning. At around 2 a.m., the Athens Police Department stopped a vehicle on South Schaefer Street. According to the police, the car's license plate is linked to a suspended driver and did not match the vehicle. After searching the car, police found what they believe to be meth and other drug paraphernalia. The driver was released at the scene. Any charges will depend on the results of the drug test. Ohio University's president is standing by the decision to release former LGBT Center Director Delphine Batista. In the grievance, Batista claims that the decision made by the university to not renew their contract was done in an unfair and insensitive way. Dwayne Nellis said in his email reply that the decision is, quote, based upon the needs of the university as determined by appropriate university leaders. A preliminary report is providing new insight into what happened before a helicopter crashed and killed 3 people in Vinton County at the end of January. The report says the helicopter turned to the right about 15 minutes after takeoff, then a sharp left. A no tracking alarm was activated after the left turn. The crash killed the pilot and 2 nurses.
Good evening. Now we are finally seeing an end to all this rain. However, we're still feeling the effects of it. We're currently under a flood warning issued by the National Weather Service. Now 20 feet is flood stage and we are expected to reach 20.6 around midnight tonight. So we are expecting to see West State and the bike path to flood. Now we can see around 3 p.m. The Hocking River today was already starting to flood. You can see some of that water going into the grass already. And throughout the day today, that was expected to increase. However, we'll dip down below flood stage overnight tonight, and that will flood warning will be over at 7 a.m. tomorrow. So you should be good to go. But right now, we're at 33 degrees and mostly clear. We'll see those temperatures drop overnight into the 20s. Winds 8 miles per hour out of the west. Now we'll have your full weather forecast coming up later on in the show if we can see any more rain this week or if we can call it done with the rain for this week.
Thank you for that update, Taylor. An Ohio man charged with killing 4 family members is waiving his right to a jury trial. The suspect, Aaron Lawson, went against advice from his counsel. The change means the state will now present evidence to a 3-judge panel instead of 12 jurors. Lawson faces 13 felony counts, including sexual assault and 4 counts of murder, and could get the death penalty if convicted.
Defendant has rights. I respect those rights. He chose to exercise one of those rights today, so I'm going to be prepared to move on to the next phase and make sure that I do my job and receive justice for these victims.
Opening statements in the case were scheduled to begin yesterday morning. It's currently unclear when the next hearing will take place. A man suspected of fatally shooting an Ohio sheriff's deputy could face the death penalty. Wade Wynn appeared in court this afternoon in Claremont County near Cincinnati. Prosecutors say Wynn faked killing himself during a standoff with police at an apartment. When authorities arrived to help him, Wynn allegedly shot through the wall at deputies. His lawyer says Wynn has been under psychiatric care. A state investigation into injection wells near Youngstown, Ohio is complete. Residents reported hearing explosion-like noises coming from injection well drilling sites. Ohio's Department of Natural Resources started monitoring for seismic activity at the beginning of January, but the state says there was no evidence of earthquakes. West Virginia has among the highest youth smoking rates in the nation, and lawmakers are looking to do something about it. A new bill would raise the state's minimum legal age for buying tobacco products from 18 to 21. A similar bill died last year in a Senate committee. The nonprofit Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids says 6 states have already raised the tobacco purchase age, and bills are pending in several other states. Chicago is also taking action against teen vaping. The city is suing e-cigarette dealers. These efforts to crack down come after a report by the Centers for Disease Control that shows an increase in teen vaping and nicotine use. Mayor Rahm Emanuel says the addictive products are being illegally marketed and sold to children in the city. The lawsuit covers 27 online retailers and 4 retail stores in Chicago. Legalizing sports betting in Kentucky could generate about $20 million a year in tax money. A proposed bill would tax sports betting in the state at just more than 10% for in-person wages. The proposal does not allow betting on college events. The bill would also require lawmakers to spend money to regulate the industry and provide addiction services. President Trump is not happy with a deal that would prevent another partial government shutdown in a few days. Plus, a thief stole a Georgia woman's car with her baby still inside. That story coming up after the break.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
Well, if you love TVC basketball action as much as we do, well then we got the show for you, Hardwood Heroes. Come along with us as we will be breaking down all the action every week. It airs Sundays at 11 p.m. and again Mondays at 6 p.m. But remember, our coverage isn't just limited to the show. We have content being posted all week long on our Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat. We will also have written recaps posted on our webpage and video recaps on our YouTube channel. So check those out as well. And always remember to be heroic.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
President Trump said he intends to sign the latest border security deal and avert another partial government shutdown, but he's not happy about it. Kristen Holmes has the very latest in this report from Washington.
President Trump signaling he'll sign a bipartisan deal to keep the government open.
I don't want to see a shutdown. Shutdown would be a terrible thing.
Despite not liking it.
I appreciate all the work the Republicans have done because they're really going against a radical left.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill sounding confident while tweaking the final proposal.
The overwhelming majority of the House Democratic caucus will support this legislation.
The agreement includes $1.375 billion for a border barrier, lower than the $5.7 billion President Trump originally demanded for the wall, and even lower than the $1.6 billion included in the Senate proposal rejected by the president in December. But Republicans are urging the president to sign off anyway.
I told him, I said, Mr. President, this is only a down payment on the wall. I said, they said you weren't going to get any money. We did get you some money.
The White House not making any promises on behalf of President Trump.
We want to see what the final piece of legislation looks like. It's hard to say definitively whether or not the president's going to sign it until we know everything that's in it.
Aides saying the president is continuing to weigh his options to fund the border wall outside of Congress, including taking executive action. In Washington, I'm Kristen Holmes reporting.
The American Federation of Government Employees held a silent protest this afternoon. They gathered in Washington to demand that the government avoids another costly shutdown. Filipino journalist Maria Ressa was arrested today in Manila, the capital of the Philippines. Ressa is the CEO of a high-profile news organization in the Philippines and has been under increasing pressure from the Filipino government to stop criticizing them. Ressa was denied bail because she arrived at the National Bureau of Investigations office after the workday had ended. She will remain in jail through the night. 1 year ago, a gunman killed 17 people at a high school in Parkland, Florida. A report released last month says there were many missed warning signs. Now, some schools across the country are using new software to help prevent another tragedy. Natasha Chen reports.
Valentine's Day 2018, a former Marjorie Stoneman Douglas high school student shot and killed 17 students and staff members. 6 weeks before the shooting, someone called the FBI about his strange social media posts. The tip never made it to the Miami field office or its agents.
You have to ask the question, what if the district had that?
Greg Boulanger, director of public safety at Bristol Public Schools in Connecticut, is not waiting for people to bring in tips. An algorithm is doing that for him. The district pays about $2 per student per year for a service called Social Sentinel. The software scans public social media posts within a geographical area for certain words and phrases that could indicate violence.
I've had some pretty serious catches where young ladies have made some claims of acts to commit self-harm.
He says the district has intercepted close to 20 students in crisis since adopting the program 5 years ago.
I think it's a good idea.
Rebecca Bailey has 4 children in Bristol Public Schools. She still remembers the day of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting less than an hour's drive away.
Until I found out that it wasn't around their school and area, I couldn't eat, I couldn't work.
While many parents support the strategy of scanning social media, the idea troubles privacy advocates. The founder of Social Sentinel says they're only looking at public posts and not tracking individual accounts.
It's not built to do that. It's not intended to do that.
It's only screening for language of harm, flagging cries for help, and potential threats, too. In Bristol, Connecticut, I'm Natasha Chen.
While some schools are working to keep guns out, one Florida high school is doing the opposite. Manatee School for the Arts is the first school in the country to have armed guards carrying long guns. After Parkland, Florida, all schools in the state have been required to have guards. But since Manatee School of the Arts is a charter school, the board can choose the weapon. Principal Bill Jones says the goal is to immediately stop any potential intruder. All flights going in and out of Belgium have been canceled for 24 hours. Air traffic controllers around the country went on strike yesterday. The strike was called by 3 unions who are fighting for higher wages. As of now, there are strict restrictions on commercial flights coming in and out of Belgian airspace. Military, humanitarian, and emergency flights will continue, though. An 11-month-old girl is alive after being kidnapped in Athens, Georgia over the weekend. A thief stole the car and drove off with the baby still inside. Police immediately launched an all-out search for the stolen car, with multiple surrounding agencies pitching in to help. Only an hour later, though, an officer spotted the stolen car at a Home Depot parking lot just a few miles away, and the child was safely rescued.
Read in the incident reports, it was a very tender moment between the mother and child, obviously, and we were just happy that in this case things turned out really well.
According to Athens police, the suspect is still on the run, and although the child is now safe, they're still working to find the person responsible. Opportunity, the rover who spent more than a decade on Mars, has gone silent. The story of many accomplishments of this mission when Newswatch returns.
And we're finally seeing an end to the rain, but how long will it last? I'll have all the details coming up on your 7-day forecast. But first, here's a look at your stocks of local interest.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Well, if you love TVC basketball action as much as we do, well then we got the show for you. Hardwood Heroes. Come along with us as we'll be breaking down all the action every week. It airs Sundays at 11 p.m. and again Mondays at 6 p.m. But remember, our coverage isn't just limited to the show. We have content being posted all week long on our Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat. We'll also have written recaps posted on our webpage and video recaps on our YouTube channel. So check those out as well. And always remember to be heroic.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
As flooding is coming to an end in the Ohio Valley, sweaters and hot chocolate might be ideal Valentine's Day gifts this year for other parts of the country. A vicious blast is crawling across the U.S., bringing plenty of snow and ice. John Lawrence takes a look.
Wintry weather from coast to coast.
I'm ready for spring, there's no question about that. It can't come soon enough.
Roughly 75 million Americans are under some kind of winter alert this week, and inclement weather resulted in thousands of flight cancellations and delays on Tuesday. Among the states getting pounded with up to a foot of snow, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Iowa.
Kind of hard outside, like the ice, but I kind of like it because it's like a little workout for me. But others may think it's not that good, but I kind of like it. I'm a snow guy.
In Chicago, falling ice forced city officials to shut down a couple of streets for safety reasons. Residents of the Northeast received various forms of precipitation, rain, freezing rain, and snow. Meanwhile, Mammoth Mountain in California is making the most of the snow. The ski resort is boasting 210 inches of snow and says its ski season will last at least until July 4th. Snow even landed in Hawaii, where some summits got a dusting. For those keeping watch, spring officially starts in just over a month.
Yeah, it's getting a little dreary. I will own that, but I do love the change of seasons.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Good evening. It was a cold day today in Athens, but at least we didn't have any rain today. After the past couple days of pretty much a washout, it's nice to finally have some dryness today. Now it's 33 degrees and mostly clear right now, but overnight tonight we're going to see the temperatures drop into the 20s, so it's going to be even colder tonight, so bundle up. This weather's been all over the place. You're not sure if you should bring your rain jacket, your coat, but we are starting to cool down again tonight. So around the region, we're seeing temperatures in the mid and lower 30s, 33 degrees in Athens, 37 in Ripley, and 35 over in Marietta. So around the region, we're seeing temperatures in the mid 30s tonight. Now, our almanac for today, we're just a little bit below average. Our high of 37 today, average high of 41, and our low today of 28 is above the average low for today of 22. And our records, of course, 1984, 74 degrees. I wish that was the weather we were getting right now because that sounds pretty nice. In 1995, negative 2 degrees, brutally cold. Now, we have to keep in mind we are still under an active flood warning issued by the National Weather Service. All that rain that we got the past couple of days, combined with the soil moisture, made for some flooding along the bike path as well as on West State Street. So make sure you keep that in mind. That is active until tomorrow morning around 7 a.m. Now here was today the Hocking River. You can see some of this water spilling into the grass over here. Now it was going to increase the flooding over the day today and into this evening. Around midnight, we're going to be at about 20.6 when the flood stage is 20. So tomorrow we should be good to go since we're not getting any more rain. However, right now you still might not want to go for the bike path because you are going to see some flooding around the area there. Now, we can see here, thankfully, we are finally clear. No precip here. Some of this rain-snow mix has moved northward and out of our region for today. Some of those flurries you saw this morning, that's what's moved out of the region. And tomorrow we're looking good as well. Now we see no precip there, although we might not get some sunshine. It's going to be a pretty cloudy next couple of days, but at least we are seeing an end to this rain. We thought that would never end. Now, we do have tomorrow morning another cold morning, 32 degrees in the morning. Make sure you're bundled up. It's going to be mostly cloudy and overcast with some calm winds out of the south at 4 miles per hour. Now, as we go throughout the day tomorrow, we're going to start to see it warm up a little bit, and we're going to reach the 50s by the evening tomorrow. So in the morning, it's going to be cold, 35 and cloudy. Around lunchtime, we're going to hit 47. It'll start to feel a little bit more comfortable for you there. And around on your way home from work, around 5 p.m., it'll be 51 degrees and cloudy. So we will start to see a warm up, although we will see some overcast skies tomorrow as well. Now, as we look at our 7-day, we can see tomorrow will be pretty nice, high of 53. Then we'll see our temperatures, our highs mostly in the 40s for the next week. Now, however, if we look at this 7-day, it's looking like a very cloudy week ahead. You can see not too much sunshine in sight, although the temperatures aren't going to be too brutally cold and we're not expecting too much rain, so we can't really complain too much about that weather.
Yeah, Taylor, I'm looking forward to the warm weather in the next few days, and if we don't see that rain till Sunday, I can't complain either.
Yeah, if we're keeping the rain off, then I'm done with this rain. After the past couple of days, it was a washout. I'm done with it, so at least the next week ahead doesn't look like we're going to get too much rain.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Taylor. After more than a decade on Mars, NASA's Opportunity rover has completed its mission. NASA scientists lost contact with the rover in June after a dust storm prevented sunlight from reaching the solar-powered vehicle. They have not been able to get in touch with Opportunity since then. The rover sent back valuable information for several years. During its time on Mars, the rover found parts of the planet suitable for sustaining microbial life.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Nick Niehaus. Coming up, I have the MAC preseason rankings for the upcoming baseball season, and the men's basketball team suffered yet another crushing loss at home. See what Coach Saul Phillips has to say about it. That and more coming up next on Newswatch. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
A box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
Well, if you love TVC basketball action as much as we do, well, then we got the show for you. Hardwood Heroes. Come along with us as we'll be breaking down all the action every week. It airs Sundays at 11 p.m. and again Mondays at 6 p.m. But remember, our coverage isn't just limited to the show. We have content being posted all week long on our Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat. We'll also have written recaps posted on our webpage and video recaps on our YouTube channel. So check those out as well. And always remember to be heroic.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Welcome back, I'm Nick Niehaus. At what point is it too late to ask if the Ohio basketball team has time to turn their season around? It's already middle of February, and they only have 7 regular season games left. Now, with just 3 wins in 2019 altogether, last night's game against Eastern Michigan was a must-win for the Bobcats. In the beginning, it seemed like they knew that too. They started the game off with a 12-0 run, all the while keeping Eastern Michigan scoreless for the first 6.5 minutes. After that, it was a 30-point swing in the Eagles' favor, and they closed out the Bobcats with a score of 66-57. It was the Bobcats' 4th loss in a row, and after the game, Coach Saul Phillips was asked, what do you even tell your players in the locker room at this point?
You can't pander to a group either. It's a fine line that you got to ride as a head coach. They don't want to be told, great job ending the game. It was a lot of fight at the end. They want to be told how they can not be in a position where they have to fight like that just to cut it to what we did. But you can't go incredibly dark on them either at this time. You know, I recognize I know how they feel. I'm in there with them.
Well, an incredibly dark place isn't the way I would describe where the Ohio women's team is at. They're still perfect in the month of February after Saturday's 3-point road win against Central Michigan. It is the only MAC team they've lost to other than Miami is Central Michigan. So now the Bobcats are at the top of the MAC standings and pretty much decide their own fate for the regular season title. And head coach Bob Bolden is happy where his team is at the moment, but like any coach, he's not complacent. He knows how tough it can be to finish out the regular season.
I think we made growth. We made a big step yesterday, or Saturday, I should say. But you know, that goes down the drain if we don't finish business over the next 7. So we'll kind of see how this goes. I'm excited about where we are, but also understand that, you know, these last 3 weeks can be a grind, and you know, everybody's going to try to beat us, which they should. And we're going to try to beat them, and you know, Toledo's historically been a tough place to play for a lot of teams, so we'll have our hands full going up there on Wednesday.
Switching sports now over to the Ohio men's golf team. They were in action earlier this week in Dade City, Florida, competing in the 2019 Earl Yestings-Meyer match play. In the first day of competition, the Bobcats split their 2 matches, falling against the 4th-seeded Bowling Green Falcons, but coming back with a win over 8th-seeded Loyola Chicago. On the second day, the Bobcats fell again, this time to DePaul, placing them in 6th for the entire tournament. Our rival Miami won the entire event. Speaking of 6th place, the Ohio baseball team has been selected in that 6th slot for the MAC preseason standings. The poll was voted on by the 10 head coaches from the conference. Kent State was selected as most likely to win the MAC championship, and 8 out of the 10 coaches voted them for that spot. Miami and Northern Illinois were the only 2 other teams voted for first place. Miami was placed 3rd in the poll and NIU 9th. Ohio returns head coach Rob Smith in his 7th year with the Bobcats. I'm Nick Niehaus, and that's it for sports. Back to you.
Thank you, Nick. The Ohio dance team made history in Orlando, Florida. The team earned the title of 2019 University World Cup Open Division champions for the first time in program history. Dr. Andrew Puschel, the director of the dance team, says the goal was to place Athens, Ohio on the map. Now let's go over to Taylor with some final weather.
Thanks, Ben. Let's take one last final look at your weather for this week. Now, the good news is tomorrow, if you're doing anything with your Valentine, you're going to have some nice weather. You can maybe go outside for a little bit. We'll have a high of 53 tomorrow, low of 44. And now we're seeing some cloudy skies throughout the week this week. But if we look at Sunday, we're going to start to see a little bit of a rain-snow mix on Sunday. So be prepared for that because we could get some icy roads on Sunday. A high of 40 there, but we'll drop down into the 20s at night. Now looking into next week, we're going to start to see our highs back in the 30s on Monday, high of 39, with some cloudy skies for the start of next week.
Thank you, Taylor. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Ben Schwartz. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.